The morning rays of sunlight streamed through the tall glass windows of Franklin University, contrasting with the golden leaves gently falling along the avenues of New York. In a large auditorium, the murmur of students and guests occasionally filled the air. Barron Trump entered, dressed simply in a deep navy blazer and light khaki pants, a stark contrast to the glamorous reputation of the Trump family. "Barron, it's a great honor to have you visiting our university," Principal Lambert greeted him warmly with a smile. "We greatly admire your presence at this scholarship ceremony." Barron smiled, his bright eyes reflecting the distinct traits inherited from his mother, and replied in a soft voice, "Thank you, Principal Lambert. I've heard so much about Franklin, but witnessing the student spirit here firsthand is truly remarkable." The ceremony began, and Barron sat quietly in the guest section, observing the faces of each student as they stepped forward to receive their scholarships. Stories of determination, dreams, and sacrifices to reach this point left a deep impression on him. Next, Emily Carter, the host announced. A slender girl in a simple white shirt stepped onto the stage. Though she appeared slightly timid, Emily's eyes burned with determination. "My name is Emily Carter," she began with a trembling voice. "I'm a first-year medical student. Since my parents passed away, I've been working 3 jobs to support myself and my younger brother. But what keeps me going is my dream of becoming a doctor. I believe that being able to study is a gift, and I will never stop striving." Barron looked at the girl with genuine respect. Emily's story struck a chord within him. As someone who had never had to worry about finances, he now felt more acutely aware of the responsibilities his privilege carried. When the ceremony concluded, Barron approached Emily and gently touched her shoulder. "You did amazing," he said. "I understand that holding on to a dream amidst hardships isn't easy. Sometimes your story is exactly what the world needs to hear." Emily was surprised, but Barron simply smiled and walked away. In his mind, he knew this wasn't the end. In his heart, something stirred a signal that he needed to do something far greater for students like Emily. Yet, it was still just an unformed idea lingering in his thoughts. After the ceremony, Barron decided to stop by a small cafe near the university. He needed time to reflect on what he had just witnessed and the emotions welling up inside him. The bell above the door jingled as he walked in, and the warm aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the cozy space. Barron chose a table near the window, ordered a cup of black coffee, and quietly observed the people around him. Nearby, a group of students sat together, their hushed voices intentionally drifting to his ears. "I can't keep going," one girl said, her voice filled with despair. "The tuition hike is just too much. I've taken on 2 jobs, but it's still not enough." "Same here," a boy replied, his tone pensive. "I can't afford textbooks for the next semester. I'll have to rely on old materials from the library, but so much of it is outdated." Barron set his coffee down, his eyes fixed on them. Their words brought back an old memory. When he was in high school, a classmate of his had to sleep in the library because his family had no place to stay. He remembered his friend's weary but determined demeanor and the quiet efforts of Barron's parents to help the family without anyone knowing. Recalling that memory, Barron couldn't help but feel a heaviness in his heart. He looked at the group of students before him, realizing their stories were not isolated cases. This was the reality many young people faced. An idea sparked in Barron's mind. This time he didn't want to simply watch or help quietly. He knew he needed to do something bigger, something more meaningful. Setting his coffee cup down, Barron took a deep breath, his eyes beginning to shine with determination. The next morning, Barron returned to Franklin University, not for an event but to meet with the school administration directly. He was ushered into a quiet conference room where Principal Lambert and several board members were waiting. "Mr. Trump, we were quite surprised to receive your request for a meeting. Is there something we can assist you with?" Principal Lambert asked, her tone a mix of curiosity and intrigue. Barron smiled, took a seat, and began outlining his idea. "I want to establish a special support fund for Franklin's students. This fund will cover the entire tuition debt for students facing financial hardship and create a free student support center. The center will provide educational resources, counseling services, and job placement assistance. The room fell silent for a moment. The board members exchanged glances, then turned to Barron with astonished expressions. "This is an incredible idea, but its scale is truly immense," one member remarked. "Are you sure you want to proceed with this? And who will be the primary sponsor for such an initiative?" "I will cover all the costs," Barron said firmly. "But I have one condition: my identity must remain confidential. I don't want the focus to be on me, but rather on the students and the purpose of this fund." Principal Lambert nodded, admiration evident in her eyes. "You truly are remarkable, Barron. We will do everything we can to help you bring this plan to life." The meeting lasted several hours, with detailed discussions on how to implement the fund. Barron left the conference room feeling both relieved and resolute. He knew this was just the first step in a much larger journey. Most importantly, he wasn't doing this for fame or glory, but for stories like Emily's and the countless students he had come across by chance. A month later, Franklin University hosted a grand ceremony to announce the new Student Support Fund. The large auditorium was dazzling with lights, filled with students, faculty, and special guests. A sense of anticipation and excitement permeated the atmosphere. On stage, Principal Lambert gave a heartfelt speech, expressing profound gratitude to the mysterious benefactor who had brought monumental change to the university and its students. "Today we will hear words of thanks from a representative of all Franklin students," she said with a solemn tone. "Please welcome Emily Carter." Emily stepped onto the stage, her eyes shimmering but betraying her nervousness. Holding a letter she had prepared, her voice trembled as she began to read. "To our benefactor, we don't know who you are, but what you have done has changed the lives of hundreds of students, including mine. The crushing burden of debt has now been lifted, and we can focus on learning and dreaming. Thank you for believing in us, even when we sometimes doubted ourselves." Emily's heartfelt words pierced Barron's heart like a finely honed blade. He sat in the audience, his emotions in turmoil. Initially, he had intended to keep his identity a secret, but at that moment he realized that his presence could inspire even greater hope. Barron stood up and walked toward the stage, leaving the entire auditorium in stunned silence. Taking the microphone, he became the focus of every gaze. "I didn't do this because I am Barron Trump," he began, his voice clear and filled with emotion. "I did it because I want to ensure that every dream has a chance to become a reality. We all deserve an opportunity to rise, no matter where we start." The auditorium erupted in thunderous applause. In that moment, Barron was no longer just the son of a billionaire, but a friend, a companion, and a beacon of hope for young people. After the announcement ceremony, the support fund officially began its operations, bringing significant changes to hundreds of students at Franklin University. Massive tuition debts were erased, opening up new futures for many, including Emily. With full financial backing from the fund, she received a scholarship to continue her medical studies, free from financial worries. Beyond debt relief, the Student Support Center was swiftly established. There, students were offered free psychological counseling, financial assistance, and study materials. The center became a safe haven for students to share their struggles and seek the help they needed. One evening, Emily met Barron on campus. She carried a folder in her hands, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Barron," she said, her voice filled with emotion, "you haven't just changed my life, but the lives of so many others. I promise, one day, I'll help others just like you helped me." Barron smiled, his gaze warm. "Emily, always remember that kindness and generosity have the power to change the world. When we help others, we don't just change their lives, we change ourselves." Barron's words echoed in the air, a reminder of the strength of compassion. From that moment on, Emily was not only a medical student, but also someone with a mission to spread kindness. Barron Trump's compassionate actions quickly became a story that spread across the United States. His efforts to assist struggling students not only captured media attention but also inspired millions of people. Major corporations, non-profit organizations, and even celebrities from various fields began to take action. A wave of fundraising campaigns was launched, ranging from providing scholarships to financially disadvantaged students to establishing comprehensive educational support funds. Similar stories of kindness emerged everywhere, from small towns to major cities. The university Barron had visited became a symbol of positive change. The students he helped not only overcame their difficulties but also rose to inspire others. They created their own narratives about the power of gratitude and kindness, spreading these values to their surrounding communities. In an emotional interview on national television, Barron was asked about what had driven him to act. He smiled humbly and said, "Kindness doesn't need to be grandiose, but it always has the power to change a life." That statement quickly became the slogan of a national movement, reminding people that kindness doesn't have to stem from grand gestures, it can come from small, sincere acts that carry profound meaning. Barron's story concluded not just with the transformation of those around him, but also with a ripple effect that shifted societal thinking. Kindness is always the seed of progress, and anyone can plant it anywhere in the world. If this story has touched your heart, we'd love for you to share its message by liking and sharing it with your friends. Help us reach our first milestone of 1,000 subscribers. It means the world to us and allows us to create more meaningful stories for you. Don't forget to share your thoughts about the story and let us know which city you're watching from. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next story.